Hey, this is pre-recorded. There's no stream starting. I'm here. Hi. All right, so this is for Wednesday. You are supposed to be completing your iReady after this, and I showed you how to get on Clever and click on and try to take both the math and language iReady assessment. I'm looking kind of casual because I'm pre-recording this, and it's Labor Day, and there's been so much going on. When we last left our people, we left them with where there is no vision, the people perish. Right up here, like it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. He said that. I want you to start thinking, what did James Hampson mean by that? I had entered a fancy idea that it wasn't actually like dying, because perish means to die. It wasn't actually dying, it meant maybe not living. And what is vision? Having a vision. Deep questions, man. Okay. Chapter 16, page 66. Arthur decided to ask Groovy Jim if he ever heard the saying before. You know, where there is no vision, the people perish. Arthur was never good at finding the hidden points in things, especially not if it was an English class. He'd missed most of the Romeo and Juliet while he was in juvie. But he got back in time to find out that almost everyone in the play dies at the end. Romeo and Juliet, that is. This was the only hidden point he'd ever gotten about Romeo and Juliet, that everybody dies. Kind of interesting. Where there's no vision, the people perish. And he's talking about Romeo and Juliet. Groovy Jim didn't seem to mind the interruption. "Hey, kiddo, you're back," he said when Arthur pushed open the door. "Come on in." He waved his tattooed arm. "I could use some company in here. I'm turning into a block of boredom." Arthur glanced around the empty shop, which smelled faintly of peppermint this time. It looked like Groovy Jim had added a few new posters of tattoo designs on the walls, one of comic book characters, another of sailing ships, and there was a string of droopy tinsel at the front of the counter where he was sitting. Arthur had no idea how this guy stayed in business. He never seemed to have any customers, and although Arthur guessed that getting a tattoo in the middle of winter probably was just not very popular. As Arthur closed the door behind him, he realized he hadn't planned out exactly what his story would be. What would he give as his reason for being there 2 Saturdays in a row? And how would he explain why Mr. Hampton was leaving him bizarre quotes on a piece of cardboard? "What can I do for you?" Groovy Jim asked Arthur. "You looking for Mr. Hampton again?" "Yeah, kind of." Arthur reached into his pocket for the scrap of cardboard, still debating what to ask. "He left me this note, and I don't have any clue what it means." He read the words of Groovy Jim. "Have you heard that saying before? Where there is no vision, the people perish?" "Sure, I've got the same one right here." And he tapped his finger on a piece of paper on the counter. "Hampton likes to hand it out a lot. The grocery guy across the street has the same quote taped on his counter, too. Where there is no vision, the people perish." Arthur stepped closer to see. It was written on an old creased note card. Same blue pen as on his cardboard note, same square printed letters. What does this mean? Beats me. Hampton, he's deep, man. Deep? Yeah. Smart, philosophical, way beyond ordinary folks like you and me. Groovy Jim leaned back in his chair and rested his feet on top of the counter. He was wearing bedroom slippers, Arthur noticed, in the middle of the day. "See, most people don't get the guy at all," Groovy Jim continued. "All they see is some far-out dude going around town with a cart full of junk. They think he's nuts, but I'm telling you, Hampton is way deeper than people realize. Trust me, he's got a good reason for everything he says and does." "What reason?" said Arthur. "Well, that's a question you're going to ask him yourself. I can't help you with that one, kiddo." Arthur couldn't tell if Groovy Jim was avoiding the question or if he really didn't know anything more about Mr. Hampton. Groovy Jim taped his fingers to the note card. Tapped his finger on the note card, sorry. "Now, if you want my opinion of what the quote means, I think it's trying to say that if you don't have vision, if you don't look deeper and see the possibilities in things, your spirit, your soul will die." He squinted at Arthur. "Get it?" No, Arthur didn't really get it. And he especially didn't get what his spirit had to do with collecting garbage. How is he supposed to look deeper at a coffee can, for instance? But he pretended to understand. "Yeah, I think what you mean." "Well, I hope you find what you're looking for this morning." Groovy Jim nodded and he picked up a magazine on the counter. "Stay warm." It was only later, when Arthur left, that he realized he hadn't actually told Groovy Jim that he was looking for anything that morning. I love that. He says, if you don't look deeper and see the possibilities in things, your spirit, your soul will die. That's having vision in chaos. What is your choice? Chapter 17, page 70. After all the talk about vision and looking deeper at things, it was ironic that the first thing Arthur spotted after he left Groovy Jim's was a mirror. It was leaning against some garbage cans at a house a few doors down the street. Arthur was trying to get the grocery cart to move through the slush. He'd cleared out the stuff from the week before, and he decided to bring the cart along just in case he needed it this time. And when he saw the corner of something catch the reflection of a passing car, he sprinted towards the trash pile, as if it might suddenly vanish. Yes, it was really a mirror. The mirror's on his list of 7 most important things. As Arthur tugged it out of the wet, snow-covered pile, he couldn't believe his good luck. One corner had a long diagonal crack, and there was a few specks of tarnish on the surface, but it was perfect. Slam dunk. He felt like pumping his fist in the air, doing some kind of victory dance. He scored a mirror in the first 5 minutes. No, first 5 seconds of his search. Then he realized how totally nuts it was celebrating a broken mirror. What in the world was he thinking? Quickly, he jammed his hands in his coat pocket and pretended to be interested in something down the street. A cop had stopped to help the VW Beetle with a flat. Arthur waited until the cop had his back turned and some other cars passed before he grabbed the mirror and stuck it under his right arm and hurried to the cart. He's acting like the junk man. I'm actually going to make note of this to myself because he's redeeming the mirror. Not here. The other point that's in purple and black. Redemption. How is... It's the action of being saved from an error or from mistake or from trash. How does Arthur think he's going to find redemption? I don't know, but Arthur is redeeming the mirror. And this may seem like a silly detail. I think these things might actually come together later. On the next street, things got even better. Arthur found a nice polished table, the kind you'd put at the end of a sofa, sitting by somebody's curb. It had curved legs and something gold leafy designs on the top. The only thing it was missing was a drawer. Since the junk man didn't like the straggly branches he left the week before, he thought he wanted pieces of wood like branches, see? But maybe he meant pieces of made wood like furniture. Which makes more sense, because he thought about all the broken furniture the junk man used to haul around in his cart. Which in case the table is perfect. Carefully, Arthur lifted the square table and set it sideways in the cart. It was too big to carry, so he was glad he brought the cart. He hoped his stubborn wheels would keep working. Pulling the black knit cap further down over his head, he tried not to notice all the cars slowing to check out him and what he was doing. He was sure it probably looked as if he was stealing stuff from the neighborhood as he started down the street again. The wet snow was falling harder, and he was glad. Maybe people paid more attention to snow than him. Foil, coffee cans, light bulbs. Those turned out to be a lot more difficult. Arthur began to realize keeping his eyes open all day and probably never spot any of them lying around outside. Waiting to be picked up is a most important thing. He capitalizes most important thing. Again, I'm just trying to do some detective work. I think he's redeeming objects at this point. That objects find their redemption because all of a sudden they become one of the 7 most important things, or a most important thing. They're not just an object anymore. They're important. They have been redeemed. It would be easier to find a discarded toilet. He'd seen of those already. Eventually, Arthur knew he had no choice. If he wanted to find everything on the list, he was going to have to look inside some of the garbage cans. The first garbage can was the worst. He chose a house where nobody seemed to be home. It was a block away from Hampton's garage. There was a green tinsel wreath on the door, and the windows were dark. But no cars in the driveway. He waited until there was no cars passing either. He tried to look like he was just passing by the empty house with an old grocery cart, checking out the neighborhood garbage cans for fun. The trash can he chose to open appeared to be pretty new, which Arthur thought was a good thing. With one hand, wasn't good enough to pull, and his gloves slipped too much. Gotta use his bare hands. Grabbed the handle and tugged hard. With a pop, the lid came off. Water splattered across the front of Arthur's coat. A lot of curse words splattered out of his mouth. Remember, it's winter. As he stood there with who knows what all over him, he tried to tell himself that was one of the worst things in life. Being covered in trash water wasn't as bad as having a rusty razor blade to your neck, right? Like in juvie? Sure. He exhaled slowly. He said a few more swear words to make himself feel better, and he forced himself to peer into the disgusting depths of the garbage can. He would find something useful inside, no matter what. And there, right on the top, like they were waiting for him, were foil TV dinner trays. Foil. Not too clean. It said foil, right? He pulled them out one by one. Hungry Chef dinner trays. The sight of them put a familiar lump in his throat. He used to eat Hungry Chef TV dinners with his dad in front of the television. Whenever his mother worked late night as a waitress, that's what they do. Turkey and mashed potatoes with extra stuffing had been their favorite. Usually they eat one and split a third. Hungry Chef and a half, said his dad. Arthur tried them again not too long ago. He cooked two when his mom was working late. He couldn't finish more than a few bites. You want to have this one? He asked Barbara. No, I don't. It really bugged him for some reason. He told Barbara that he was a spoiled little brat, and the whole night went kind of downhill from there. Arthur tossed trays into the cart and slammed the lid back in the trash can. He needed to stop remembering things and do work. Checking his watch, he sighed. He still had 3 hours to go. The last thing he collected that Saturday were the light bulbs. He found 2 coffee cans and decided it was time to give up. He hoped the nice wooden table, the big mirror, and all the foiled trays. People had eaten a lot of TV dinners that week. Hey, remember, it is 1963 or 60. Yeah, 63. It is. It's 63. Would make up for finding most important thing number 1. Light bulbs. He didn't find many. But then as he was heading back to the garage, he noticed a tangled knot of discarded Christmas lights next to someone's trash can. A few of the bulbs were missing, but the string had more than enough left. The junk man could even choose 2 different colors, white or green. Arthur tossed the Christmas lights on top of the pile. Done. As he pushed and pulled the stubborn cart back to Mr. Hampton's garage, he decided nobody could accuse him of not following directions this Saturday, of not having vision. He found everything on the list, including a pretty decent table. What he really wanted to know was why. That's what kept circling through his mind. Groovy Jim said the guy had a reason for all he did. So what was it? Why did Mr. Hampton want coffee cans, but not ginger ale cans? And light bulbs, but not lamps? The list seemed totally random and pointless. But Arthur was beginning to think, maybe it wasn't. Foil, one of the 7 most important things. Can you name the 7 most important things off the top of your head? You don't have to. You can go back and look on page 44. Light bulbs, foil, mirrors, pieces of wood, glass bottles, coffee cans, and cardboard. The 7 most important things. And it's interesting. Foil was a really important thing between Arthur and his dad because of their ritual of having TV dinners. Now, TV dinners were done in tin foil, and you'd stick them in the oven. I'm going to have to show you a picture next time. And it was a very 1960s, 1970s thing. I think they still make them. I don't know. Hungry Chef TV dinners in a tinfoil tray. And they were easy to make, and they were kind of like cafeteria food at home. But still, that's what Arthur and his dad used to eat. So foil was important to his dad. It's like, I don't know. See, there's a lot of weaves going on here. This book is starting to get very artistic. Okay, I'm stopping here at page 75. We'll pick up page 76 tomorrow. I know it's only 13 minutes of reading, but that's good. Focus on the I ready and a little preview. Tomorrow's reading. The first most important thing.